Tales of the Thunderbolt. Tales of the Thunderbolt, the calligrapher of blood, a master calligrapher was hired by the king to write the history of the world. "Use the finest ink," said the king. The calligrapher dipped his pen, but the pen did not write what he intended. He tried to write "The king sat on the throne," but the pen wrote, "The throne grew a king." He tried to cross it out, but the letter A stood up on the paper and bit his finger. "We are not dead symbols," hissed the ink. "We are the matrika, the mothers of reality. You do not write us, we write you." The calligrapher watched in horror as the letters on the page began to rearrange his own room. The word fire appeared on the parchment, and his curtains burst into flames. The word flood appeared, and water poured from the floorboards. "Stop!" screamed the calligrapher. "I am the writer." The ink laughed a dark, liquid sound. "You are just a sentence we are finishing," it said, "and we have reached the period." The pen moved one last time, writing "the end," and the calligrapher vanished into thin air, leaving only the wet page. Moral: you think you use language to describe the world. You do not see that the words have come together to describe you into existence. The man who was bored by miracles, a saint, sat by the river performing miracles. He levitated stones. He turned water into wine. The crowd gasped. "Ah, astonishing!" But a skeptic stood at the back, yawning. "I have seen tricks before," he said. "This is just manipulation of atoms. It is boring. Show me something real." The saint looked at the skeptic. "You want the real?" The saint snapped his fingers. Suddenly, the skeptic lost his filters. The conceptual mind collapsed. He looked at a blade of grass. It wasn't just green. It was a roaring explosion of emerald fire, vibrating with the energy of 1,000 suns. He looked at his own hand. The sheer improbability of having 5 fingers, of skin, of bone, hit him with the force of a freight train. The ordinariness of the world was ripped away, revealing the raw, terrifying miracle of existence. The skeptic fell to his knees, screaming in a mixture of terror and ecstasy, overwhelmed by the sheer shock, chamatkara, that anything exists at all. "Make it stop," he begged. "Make it boring again. I cannot survive this much awe." Moral: you seek miracles because you are asleep. If you were truly awake, the simple act of drawing a breath would be enough to shatter your heart with wonder. The rider of the red wave, a monk, spent his life suppressing anger. "Anger is heat," he said. "I must be cool like the moon." Whenever he felt rage, he breathed it away. He became very calm, very stiff, and very cold. He was like a statue of ice. One day, a demon insulted his mother. The anger rose up a massive red tsunami of heat. "Go away," shouted the monk to the wave. "I am holy," but the wave was too big. It crashed over him. It swallowed him. Inside the red water, the monk expected to burn. Instead, he found clarity. He found power. He found that the heat of the anger was the same energy as his own life force, just moving fast. He stopped fighting the wave and decided to ride it. He merged with the anger. He became the fierce deity Bhairava. He didn't act out destructively. He simply vibrated with the intensity of a nuclear reactor. "I was a fool," roared the monk. "I tried to put out the fire of God with a cup of water." Moral: do not reject your heavy emotions. Ride the wave of rage all the way back to the ocean of power. The king of the 3 cities, a king had 3 palaces. The first was the palace of sunlight, waking. The second was the palace of fog, dreaming. The third was the palace of black stone, deep sleep. Every day the king traveled from the sunlight to the fog, and then to the black stone and back again. "I am a traveler," said the king. "I go to different worlds." One day a sage asked him, "Who is the one traveling?" "I am," said the king. "If you are in the sunlight palace," asked the sage, "are you wet from the fog?" "No." "If you are in the black stone palace, are you burned by the sunlight?" "No." "Then," whispered the sage, "you do not live in any of the palaces. You are the road that runs through them. You are the witness who never sleeps, even when the body is in the black stone." The king realized he had never actually entered any of the states. He was the screen upon which the three movies were projected. Moral: you think you wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night, but the you that knows you are sleeping has never closed its eyes. The bird without feet. There was a legendary bird called the Kechara. It was born without feet. It could never land. Poor creature, said the animals of the earth. It must be exhausted. It has no branch to rest on. It has no ground to stand on. The Kechara looked down at the animals. You poor things, it sang. You believe you need support. You think you need a reason to be happy, a ground to stand on, a logic to hold you up. How do you rest? Shouted a fox. I rest on the wind, said the bird. To me, the falling is the flying. Because I have no feet, I have no home. Because I have no home, the entire sky is my nest. The bird folded its wings and dived into the void, perfectly at peace in the groundlessness. Moral: you are looking for a place to rest your mind, a philosophy, a belief, a self-definition. But the ultimate freedom is the state of the skywalker, resting comfortably in midair, supported by nothing but your own awareness. XVI.